Welcome to the Power of Music podcast. Brought to you by JM International. Get ready to explore conversations with those making a difference through music.
Hello and welcome everyone to the JM Jeunesse Musicale podcast, a global network of NGOs that empowers young people through music across all boundaries. Today we're recording from the European Youth event at the EU Parliament in Strasbourg, where JMI is hosting the European Emerging Band Contest. My name is Ricardo, and I'll be your host, and for this episode, I'm joined by Mia Heresch. Mia is a presenter, podcaster, radio host, documentary maker, and the founder of Music is Her Passion. First question normally is, what is your journey? But you, in the pre-interview questions or talk, already said your name has a meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Please share the name.
My name is Mia, and actually, of course, now we're talking in English, and the English version of the meaning of my name is Music is Awesome. In German, it's Musik ist alles, what is like music is everything, and this is also what it is to me. Like everything awesome is like, yeah, music is my life.
And is this something your parents already thought of, or is something that you gave later in retrospect?
Yeah, completely.
Okay.
And also, like, I was not born as Mia, so there's another name.
There's another story.
Yeah, there's another name, another story, but my real name, I don't like that much, so
Okay.
I identify more as a Mia.
Okay.
And
Also, it stands for something beautiful, so.
Yeah, and it's easy to recognize whenever you meet someone. You
Yeah.
can say, yeah, it's music is awesome.
And music is awesome.
Yeah,
And everything.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
it.
What has been your journey into all the projects you're doing right now?
You know what? As I am reflecting it right now, music always led me, because I moved to Berlin when I was 18, 19 years old, and I chose Berlin because, like, one of my best friends, I was staying back at that time in Ecuador in South America, and she sent me like a music magazine from Berlin that they only had there. And I was figuring out, okay, what would I do on my 18th birthday if I would be living in Berlin? And there were like 3 concerts that I would have died for. And I was like, okay, all right, I have to move to this city. And actually, another present that was in that package that they sent me over there was a DVD about, we were watching DVDs at that time, so you can assume my age. And it was about a Berlin-based band, and I was like, okay, wow, I like the documentary, I like the music scene, I like the band, so
Too many signals pulling you to Berlin.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to be part of this music scene right now.
Yeah. So when you arrived in Berlin, what is it that you were doing, and how did music lead you?
Actually, I started university, so very classical, but I always loved to go to shows. So, and I kind of by accident I started to study marketing, because I started university, like my pre-start of university was in Ecuador, and I wanted to do publicity, because not publicity, it's journalism. But in the German word is publizistik. And so I was thinking that the Spanish word for publicidad would be journalism, but it was it was marketing. So I started by accident doing this, and what is like super different, because I always wanted to work as a music journalist. This was my aim. And yeah, it was funny, and then I kind of liked it, and that's why
you stayed.
Yeah, I stayed. But afterwards, after university, then I was starting to work in companies like that, and then I recognized no. I have to come back to my way of music.
And then, because I know at some point you started making music documentaries.
Yeah, exactly. I started to work at TV stations. And then I recognized that, okay, the cool stuff, I also worked at MTV at that time, and then I recognized that the cool documentaries, they're not produced by the TV station itself, it's always a production company. And then I started to work at the production company, and like my first big project was already with one of Germany's biggest artists, And then all of a sudden, I came there much faster than I ever imagined.
How long have you been doing this?
For 1 decade.
For 1 decade.
No, at the production company itself, I was like for 2 or 3 years, and then I collaborated with like a legend in music documentary and music videos. He's called Rudi Dolezal, and he kind of invented Viva, which was the German pendant to MTV, and he was doing documentaries with basically everyone, like the Rolling Stones and Queen and Madonna, and I was also working with him on a Whitney Houston documentary and accompanying like a lot of German and then also international bands.
Wow. So looking back on this decade, what is your favorite story or favorite memory from all these experiences?
Oh, that's a very tough question. I don't know my favorite story, but it's something that I realized later that also as music guided me through all of my life, and I'm very, very fascinated of all of the world that is happening backstage, behind the scenes. And as a little girl, I was always standing like in the front row and dreaming of the world that could be happening there. And my very favorite movie is also Almost Famous. And I identify 100% with the music journalist who is like accompanying the bands on tour. And ever since, I'm trying to like relive scenes of Almost Famous. And I'm doing pretty well in experiencing that.
And what was the biggest surprise for all these us people listening who don't have this view into the backstage or into the world of the musicians? What was surprising to you?
I still love that feeling when you meet someone like who you accompanied for a long time and who you're very familiar, and then they come to your city and invite you to your show, and then to be, even if it hasn't been for a long time that you haven't seen each other, you're immediately part of the crew again, and the spirit that is there, like this, and this love. It's like I always had the luck also in accompanying and being fans of, let's say, the right bands. So because of course as a music director I don't have to tell you anything. It's like, first of all, you're assumed of being the groupie, but if you once like, I don't know, stand your woman, let's say, and if you're respected, and if, I don't know, you experience the same kind of love for music, it's this feeling that is still like fascinating me the most. And as soon as friends of mine are releasing music, I'm already starving for the conversation that we're going to have afterwards.
Oh, that's amazing. And what did you do after the documentary phase?
I became a mother, and in the middle of it, basically. And then, I was like pretty surprised of the things that society is awaiting from me as a woman instead of what they are awaiting from my partner. And then I became aware of the topic of gender equality. And then I wanted to do a music documentary about it. And I'm basically still in the research phase because then I started my society, it's our society. I was just the idea giver of the Music is Her Passion Society, e.V. We say it in Germany, e.V. We are there to empower equality in music.
We just had a nice presentation here at the EYE, the European Youth Event, about gender equality in music, and you mentioned some pretty horrendous facts about the music industry. I'm not going to ask you to rename all these facts, or do you know them?
Of course,
You know them?
I know them.
Can you?
For example, only a percentage of 2.8 of all the producers that are like named under the most successful 800 Billboard songs of the past year were female. And we have like an overall of 20% of musicians that are female. And when it comes to like the producers' numbers already like the strongest, but if you go into like songwriting, all the things that are happening behind the scenes, yeah, the numbers are like incredible, like under 10%. And also, if you think, and what I really don't understand is that this is a phenomenon, a structural problem that we're like really facing into. It doesn't matter what music genre it is, it doesn't matter what country it is, it's always the same.
So far on your research, what do you think is the biggest problem, or what is causing this incredible discrepancy? 2%, that's almost unbelievable.
That's almost unbelievable. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a structural problem. And I was thinking about that question a lot. And a lot of answers that I found can be found within the system that we are living in, the patriarchal system that is made from and for basically old, white, cis men. And yeah, there's no space for whatever other genders. And yeah, I think this is one aspect of the problem. And then this like typical males club that you're having, and also till now, like the gender that you're identifying with is still presuming the instrument that you are supposed to learn. And actually now I'm also conducting a lot of interviews, and I'm asking, of course, I'm not only talking with female identifying or other genders, I'm also having a lot of conversations with male, cis, white men in the music scene. And sometimes I feel like they never even thought about taking like a female in the studio, working with a female producer, or working with some team members on tour that are not identifying as male. So it's like a lack of awareness, and in combination with the system that is providing still an easier career and an easier jump into the music world for not females, let's say.
You know what I'm thinking? It's pretty confronting, but I never thought about this. Maybe unconsciously, but I used to have a music label with some of my high school friends. I always wanted to make a difference with that project, but I don't think we ever released a female artist in all these years. And I'm not sure, because I was very concerned with trying to make a difference from the structural perspective of how to pay artists more and how to make them the focal point in our structure and these kind of things. And we did have some female top liners, but I don't think we ever get any demos as well from female house producers. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, and it's so important to have that awareness. And we're just only talking about females and males. We're not talking about the BIPOC and LGBTIQ plus community. So, yeah, and they are out there. For example, We For Music is our passion. We were booking for an event, and it's kind of our first like bigger event that we're hosting at a very nice location in Berlin. And our aim was to only present female identifying individuals at stage. And it was so harsh even for us, because then if you have the live setup and it's not only the solo female artist, you recognize how many women are surrounded by men on stage. And it was even for us, as we are a society that is surrounded by female artists, it was super harsh, but we didn't give up and we found a solution. And sometimes I notice I'm also curating panel talks, and I know that sometimes what is the outcome of the stage is not representing what you did to like make it more diverse in every direction. But we have to have this awareness, and we have to keep on doing it. And enlarging our networks in exactly those diversity factors.
And how in your projects, and let me think how to phrase this, isn't that there is a risk I feel sometimes when we do these projects, even here at the EYE, and we talk about very, very important projects. First of all, there were 4 guys at the workshop that you just did here at the EYE, which then supposedly is the bubble of all the people that are super open-minded, which to me was quite surprising. Well, not surprising, but quite sad. How do you ensure that if you organize these events that you're not preaching to the choir and you actually reach new people?
Yeah, that's super important,
Yeah.
because that's also why at Music is a Passion we call it equality empowerment, not female empowerment. And because also even the word feminism, it's so misunderstood within our society because it means nothing else than equality. But I guess most men are still afraid of feminists. And it's not that we want to claim the matriarchy. It's just that we want equality. It's very easy. But to me, also, the people who are now privileged in this system, we all need to put on the same strength. And yeah, but coming back to your question, I think it's always super important to be like as empowering in all directions, and just thinking about toxic masculinity. This shows that also even cis white old hetero men, they can have a positive outcome of a more diverse society within all levels of success, because this is also something that you can experience a lot in the music sector or in every other sector of our society, that at the base you find females, but then at the higher the positions get, the more male it becomes. And that, yeah, there are like super interesting models like that could change our society from the bottom. But of course there need to be the will of the change makers to also provide the stage to those who really want to change the system.
And besides organizing events, what is the foundation? Music is Your Passion. What are you trying to do with that?
We try to raise awareness for gender equality, and that's why we're running a magazine. And yeah, we're writing articles and trying to highlight as many LGBTIQA plus and of course female artists as possible, and also accusing like general issues or let's say things that we think that there's space to improve. And we have our socials. We are curating panel talks as well. This is something that we do also at music conferences, at festivals. And now, for example, we are also starting to have talks with a festival in Germany that is known for having a very undiverse lineup. In Germany, we have like a pretty big problem with festival lineups where you have up to, 98% of males. So it's like incredible. And we're with one of them, we want to deal up and to like curate an own flinter, so female, lesbian, inter, and trans people stage. So this is, what is the idea behind it. So we're kind of pretty diverse. And what we are also, for example, doing this year, we're doing an exhibition, like a photo exhibition. So we're trying to get into all different kind of cultural activities and have like nice events and media bits and pieces where people can become entertaining way of getting more awareness towards gender equality in music.
And if you look at what's happening in the world, and I know there's a lot of things that I'm not going to name Andrew Tate, but I just did. There's a lot of things happening that are not going so well. But are you seeing any developments that you are excited about, or things that you're looking like, okay, there's something happening within certain industry or certain spaces?
So what I'm very curious about right now is the current Me Too debate that we have about everything that is happening around Rammstein and Till Lindemann. And I think that this time we really have the possibility to experience a change, because so far, like, there were basically not really any consequences for artists who were accused for sexual harassment. And actually last year in Music is a Passion, we had like 1 year, our core topic was sexism in music. I curated like tons of panel talks where it was about sexual violence and sexism in music. And what came up to my mind is that we don't have a culture, a healthy culture to talk and to cause those topics. They're only brought up media-wise when there's like a big scandal like we're facing right now. But what is happening right now with Rammstein is something that in Germany the music scene never experienced before. And today, the day that we are recording the podcast, it's still the case that the music industry itself didn't really take a stand and said something. Not the label, not the booking agents, nobody. But there's like a very, very big front of not only activists, but also in my like super sexism aware bubble, I think there's nobody that already said something very constructive to this case. And in my world, this needs to change. And I really have this very, very deep desire that we're not only talking about that right now, where like we are already at the bottom of something that nobody could ever imagine, but to like really have a change within the whole music industry concerning how women are seen and also how certain levels of power are used. And this is also what I like so much about music, that this case is showing perfectly that music is a perfect mirror to our society. Because what we see in this actual Rammstein Me Too affair is nothing that we haven't seen before in other areas of our society, of culture, of wherever.
Maybe a different question. What, and I say this perfectly realizing my own privilege, because you mentioned that especially people who are privileged, whether, well, speaking as a white cis male, what do you think is the most important that these people can also contribute?
Yeah, to give the space to everyone who is not identifying as themselves, and to be brave and to support the community, the LGBTIQ plus community, all the females. Even it doesn't matter if you're a booker, be aware of equality. It doesn't matter in which position you are. You have to be like, this awareness has to be part of your identity. This would imagine, just dream with me about a world where everyone would be aware of equality and where everyone would treat each other equally.
And what would you say to the fragile white males who are like, yeah, well, you know what they say. What would you say to them?
I would love to give them like the hand and to show them all the positive aspects that we can experience towards a more equal music world. And I'm 100% convinced that even like from outside, I don't like this attitude, but like the strongest, malest man, I don't know if this word even exists, but that it's so, let's say, they win in also showing their feminine sides and providing stages, whatever stage it is. If it's just a position that is available at your company, that you try always to watch everything towards your equality glasses.
Yeah. And yeah, I actually feel a bit confronted in a positive way that I never thought about this when I was working at a music label.
Yeah, and also exactly this of being aware and educating yourself. And then be brave enough to say, okay, something is going wrong. I recognize we have a 100% of male artists. So I think we as a company or we as a music industry, we can't handle the problem by ourselves. Let's do a quota. Start with 20%. Start with 30%. You don't have to do 50 from the start, from the beginning. But or you can say, okay, this year 10, next year 20. So that's in 5 years you have your 50-50.
Looking at your own projects what is up and coming, like you said, maybe you wanted to make a documentary.
I'm super excited because I'm going on a super small but very cool live tour with my podcast. I'm having my podcast that's in German language, and it's about all different aspects of equality. And they invited me at some music festivals to talk with some super inspiring people, and I'm very excited about that. And I'm, of course, super excited about the 2 Music is Her Passion events that we're going to host this summer in July. Everyone is invited to come. And yeah, I'm also very excited about how I'm also hosting a radio show in Berlin, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and the guests are, I love every single one of them. And so I'm very happy that at the end, because when I decided to not do films anymore and to go through my, let's say it, idealistic way, of course I had a lot of struggles. And maybe this is also something that I can address to the listeners, that it's absolutely worth to go and follow the path of your heart and make something that is fulfilling, and not only grab the next big amount of money and fame or whatever. And yeah, to be as idealistic as you can be in everyday's life.
If people want to find you or connect with you, want to listen to your podcast, want to listen to your radio show, or want to come to the events that you just mentioned, where can they find you? Where can they find the foundation?
I think on Instagram is the easiest. Also website. It's a membership society. You can even become a member. This is also something that we want to do, to provide change, to engage more people who maybe also, as I had it when I was a kid, pursue my career in music journalism. Then our magazine is open, whatever.
Yes.
There are 2 possibilities that you can enter the website.
Okay.
equality-empowerment.com. And the other one is musicisherpassion.com.
Thank you. And the last question, what is the power of music?
The power of music to me is unconditional love that is spread and impressed by it. To me, it's really kind of such a connecting and heart connecting on a level that nobody can explain with logical words and feelings. Language that no matter from where of the planet and which language, in a spoken world way, you speak, is understood and is connecting us and is also healing us in a way. And the power of music, when you discover a new album and you think, yeah, okay, it might be nice, then you listen to it twice, then you think, oh yeah, I didn't discover that aspect, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, 100 million times that you can listen to the right album, and that you can, maybe I can also share a little story with you about my very, very, very favorite band. I think I was 12 years old when I was standing in the first row at the concerts, and they were very small at that time, and then we suddenly became friends. And I think there's no band in my whole life that I've seen so many concerts and that I really know every song by heart. And yeah, for more than 20 years I'm seeing them on stage, and I saw them this summer also sometimes. And the last time I went home from the show, I discovered a certain fulfillment and a gratitude just to have them by my side, and to know that there's basically an answer in all of their songs to all of the questions that I might have in my life that nobody else can give me answer to. And that's the power of music to me.
Thank you so much, Mia.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening. If you want more information about JM or would like to get involved, visit www.jmi.net, where you can find more information and look for national member organizations. Or go to www.mubazar.com to get an overview of all the amazing opportunities for musicians. It would mean a lot to us if you could give us 1 minute of your time and review and rate this podcast. And in case you have any suggestions, please feel free to reach out to us through the JMI social.